Skin Deep, written and narrated by Saffron Bryant. Chapter 12. Connecting to the castle now, Leaky said as his projected screen flickered. How may I direct your call? A young woman with smooth skin and bright blue eyes smiled out at them. Ravyn leant forward, ignoring the spark of pain that shot up from her injured leg. It's Ravyn Aldon here. I want to speak with the Queen. The woman's smile faltered and the screen went black. The audio feed filled with the muffled voices and frantic shuffling. One moment, please, the woman said, without turning the video back on. Her voice sounded strained and brittle. The corners of Ravyn's mouth twisted and she straightened her shoulders. Ravyn! The Queen's image filled the screen, her sharp eyes glaring straight through and leaving a chill over Ravyn's skin. It's so nice of you to return my call. Ravyn returned her glare. I thought you should know. Your latest shipment of Calanto has been delayed. The Queen's smile faltered and her eyes flicked to the left of the screen. What are you talking about? Let my friend go and we can talk. Queen Elena flipped her hand at something off screen and footsteps shuffled away, followed by the sound of a closing door. I thought I made it very clear last time that any more foolishness would lead to your friend's death. Ravyn kept her face expressionless, her knuckles white where they clutched her chair. If you hurt him, you'll never see another drop of Calanto. How long do you think you'd stay queen then? The Queen swallowed, a red glow creeping across her cheeks. How dare you? Return it to me this instant and I'll let him go. Ravyn's heart fluttered. The Queen sounded worried. No, you'll get one dose in exchange for his freedom. If you want the rest, you'll call for another election. A real one. One dose? You value your friend's life that little? The whole shipment or he dies. You're in no position to negotiate. If you don't get it, you'll start to look your age and lose all your precious power. How old are you now? 50? 60? How will all those years look on you? The Queen's skin lost all colour and her mouth dropped open. No. Yes, unless you do exactly as I say. You'll release Adol, unharmed. Then you'll announce a new election where you'll make it very clear that the criteria is not beauty. The people are to vote based on capability. Queen Elena shook her head, gaping. I can't. They wouldn't understand. You can and you will. You have 24 hours. After that, your years will start showing. The Queen ran a gloved hand over her smooth cheek, her eyes wide. Set him free, and I'll have the first dose sent straight to you. Queen Elena whipped her hand from her face. Fine, he'll be released within the hour. Unharmed. Yes. The screen flickered off, and Ravyn allowed herself a flutter of hope. She leaned back and closed her eyes. At least Atol would be safe. Our contacts within the city have confirmed Adol's release and the dose of Calanto has been delivered, Leaky said. Ravyn nodded. Good. Let's see how she handles our other request. She turned to the television screen where the familiar news presenters sat, their expressions puzzled. Well, Richard, I don't know what to make of the Queen's latest announcement, said Macy. Me neither. And based on current polls, we're not the only ones who are confused. Let's take another look at the latest message from Queen Elena. The image flicked to a handsome man in a well-fitted suit. Queen Elena stood behind him, her lips pursed. The man cleared his throat. People of Faraway. Queen Elena wishes to make a vital announcement. He glanced over his shoulder at the Queen, his lips quivering. She flicked her hand at him and glared. Her Majesty is requesting another election, given the difficulty of the most recent one. However, Her Majesty feels... He looked again over his shoulder, but ripped his gaze away as soon as he met the Queen's eyes. that leaders should be elected based on capability rather than looks. Therefore, citizens are asked to consider leadership potential when casting the votes for the upcoming election, which is scheduled for tomorrow. The man swallowed, his face pale. He opened his mouth to continue, but the screen flickered, replaced by the news presenters. "Just astonishing," said Macy. "But where is it all coming from?" Richard asked. "This is the first call of this nature we've seen. Unless, of course, you count Ravyn's ridiculous publicity stunt." Richard nodded, a faint line creasing his forehead. "Unfortunately, the Queen's request is quite similar. Her Majesty has never indicated this kind of desire before. It makes me question, where is it coming from?" "The Queen's supporters are theorizing that the recent unrest in the Undesirable district may be contributing to her sudden announcement." "They have been causing problems," said Macy. "Perhaps this will be enough to shut them up. But you know what they're like." "Very true. Queen Elena's latest announcement has left voters confused. The most prominent question on the streets today is, what are we supposed to do now? And I don't have an answer to that." "Me neither, Richard. Also today..." Ravyn flicked the television off and turned to her fellow robots. "This is it. This is what we've been working towards." In a shocking turn of events, today's special election has seen Queen Elena overthrown, said Macy. Instead, Ravyn Aldun has been crowned queen in what people are calling the first competency election. Ravyn sat, gaping at the screen. No, what the hell are they thinking? This might be what some people are calling it, but there are many who are unhappy with today's outcome. Prominent families, including Melrose Travellin, are very concerned about the recent turn of events, but have declined to comment directly. As the new queen, Ravyn Aldun is required to present to the castle within 3 days. That is, of course, if she chooses to come, said Macy with a grimace. She certainly has not made a name for herself for keeping appointments. Cold filled Ravyn's chest. They can't... Doc sighed and shook his head. What did you expect to happen? The people have never voted on such a thing as capability before. They voted the same as they would have usually, except that the Queen's announcement made them nervous, so they chose you. Ravyn hung her head and clutched her skull with both hands. Were all these people born stupid, or is that something they learned? Doc chuckled. You know as well as I do that it's learned. Ravyn stood and hobbled on her injured leg to the window, where she gazed out over the desert. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Except, of course. Ravyn's hand clenched into a fist. Queen Elena won't let this happen. Grumpy stomped in from the adjoining room. Nope, she'll have a plan. Ravyn turned to face them. So what do we do? Doc shook his head. I really don't think you have much of a choice. If you don't come forward now, then the people will never trust you, and this new method of voting. We'll lose the only chance we have of changing things. But she'll have assassins waiting at the gates to kill me as soon as I enter the city. So we'll kill them right back, said Grumpy. No, Doc said, waving his hand. We'll be smart. We'll go in with a lot of fanfare so people know we're there. We take weapons. We do everything we can. Ravyn turned back to the window and imagined she could see the city sparkling on the horizon. She's too powerful. She'll still get us. Silence met her words. End chapter. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you'll know when the next chapter is released.